if you're on the no-fly list, didn't Hitler have a no-fly list? Now they're making the no-fly list a no-gun-buy list, a no-job list, a no-benefits list. Do you get it? Do you see this? Now you have free speech zones. Go take a look at the G20 meeting, okay? Go take a look at the goons that dress up like Darth Vader, okay? And then go look at the provocateurs, okay? The agent provocateurs who are going to what? Throw stuff at cops, flip over things, burn buildings so the cops can get mad and then beat up the people. All this to put fear into the people. And you'll continue to take your shoes off at the airport because you've been conditioned to be that slave. But while they economically screw your grandchildren, while they medically put poisons in your water, hello you fluoride drinkers, okay? And they put poisons in your food, hope you enjoy the aspartame, thank you Donald Rumsfeld, okay? How about your high fructose corn syrup where they find mercury in it? Oh gee, take a look at all your drugs like Vioxx giving people heart attacks and they knew about it. Take a look at Baxter Pharmaceuticals, okay, with their factor VIII blood products, okay, that gave people AIDS. You don't realize they're poisoning you, and once again, the same thing from the same people, the same money folks. Oh, and lies, gee. I mentioned the troop withdrawals. Oh yeah, I listened to a gal, she was on a radio talk show here in Boston, a sports channel, okay, and was the previous Miss South Carolina, and she's a famous soccer gal now here in Massachusetts, right? Massachusetts women's soccer. And she says, oh yeah, I love Obama. He took the troops out of Iraq. How moronic, okay? Not only is he not taking the troops out, he's actually put in more contractors. Geez, I guess you forget Blackwater, massacring people, you know. What are you Americans up to? When will you wake up? Will you stop taking the Prozac? So anyway, yeah, the O-Man, bypass Congress and allow indefinite detention. That sounds like what Bush was doing, huh? Oh yeah, O-Man comes in. I'm not going to have lobbyists. He has all lobbyists. I mean, the #2 guy in the Department of Defense is from Raytheon, local Massachusetts guy. Oh boy, we're not going to have lobbyists anymore, right? And meanwhile, who's lobbying for the Fed? Who's handling their PR? The same people that handled Enron's. Geez, you think there was a change with Bush? Well, I got news. A lot of people say it's socialism. I say, no way. It's fascism. When the government controls business, who took over GM? It's fascism. When the government takes over all businesses like they did with the banking bailouts, did you see how they can take over any business? That's fascism. When the government takes over all the medical and stuff, that's fascism. This marriage of corporate and government state, okay, it's called fascism. It's not socialism. By the way, socialism, what do they usually do? They loot the countries and all the money goes offshore. That's what the Nazis did. You may have defeated Germany in the Second World War, but the Nazis lived on. And you know what they did? They've got their money, those same banking people. If you think I'm wrong, you go type in your little Google machine and type in Prescott Bush's name. I'm not just telling you Obama. Let's talk Bush. They're all the same. They're all funded by Goldman Sachs. They're all funded by these globalist bankers. It's like your Federal Reserve, privately held by what? By the royals of Europe? Queen Beatrice of the Netherlands? Did I say Dutch royal shell? How about Queen Elizabeth? Oh, the Queen. And all you people love the coronation and all this. You know how many people she's responsible for killing? I mean, look at what's going on in England. Okay? There's a camera on every street corner, okay? And by the way, if you don't want the vaccine, you're a paranoid. We're going to have to detain you indefinitely while we drug you. Yes. And why did we build the camps in the United States? Watch Camp FEMA. Look it up. Check it out. Hopefully you enjoy it. My name, once again, is Daniel Hapney. This is The Real Story, and it's your opportunity to wake up. This isn't BS. Look it up. Do your own due diligence. Hey, and if you find out differently, come on the show. Get some balls, men. Start acting like men. Start protecting your wives and your grandchildren. Don't let them become slaves just so some globalist bankers, okay, who happen to control your media, lie to you constantly. Thanks for watching. That's it. I'm back. This is Overdrive. There's so much you have to see and learn and know. First off, think about indoctrinating our youth. Remember when I mentioned things that Germany did, okay, and parallels to what we're doing? Take a look at what they're doing with these children and listen carefully. Listen carefully to the words chosen that they're programming these children with this song for. This is the cult of personality.
1, 2, 3.
He said we all must lend a hand to make this country strong again. Barack Hussein Obama. He said because he's here today, equal work means equal pay. Barack Hussein Obama. He said we all must take a stand to make sure everyone gets a chance. Barack Hussein Obama.
Pretty amazing, huh? Now, it gets interesting because when I say cult of personality, you got to understand this was our first president that had a logo. It's one thing to have a slogan, you know? Yes, we can. I remember that. You remember that, okay? But many presidents have. This is the first guy with a logo. And I thought that was interesting because in history we've had other leaders with logos. But to build this cult of personality thing going on, and it was like perfect. This guy, once again, chosen by the globalists. And if you don't think so, see if every word he said isn't global. Here's the Boston Globe. And the Boston Globe, what's the headline? Yeah. I mean, after Newsweek telling you about global leaders, you got to understand, he's now what? The head of the Security Council. Well, that's a title. And if anybody ever wanted to consider reading the Constitution, you might find out that when you're in public office, you can't have a title like a duke. You can't become a prince, a chief, a judge, or whatever for some other group. And in this case, not even for a world group. When he gets out, that's a different story. But right now, he's an acting president. So it's interesting because when you listen to his speech, take his speech in Germany. What we need is a global.
A global commitment, a new and global partnership in a globalized world. In this new century, in this new world, in this new century, the world more intertwined than at any time in human history.
And then they tell you about global warming. And then they tell you, well, the problem is global banking. And the next thing you know, it's like, well, it's a global economic. Everything's a global. Do you consider that possibly it's globalists who are pushing these global agendas? I don't think it's people in my little community of Sharon. It may not have people in Massachusetts. Interesting news from Massachusetts. Well, anyway, before I get into Mass, and we'll finish with some more of that because we got to tie in, the thought of executive orders, okay? That's like, instead of laws that are done by our representatives in the, I don't want to say legal system, I want to say the legislature and stuff. No, we now have what? Executive orders. You should read all the ones Bush did. Let alone, you want to go back to Nixon? They get really, really interesting, okay? But where I want to say was, now get a little more of this cult of personality. Take a look at what's going on, the logo thing. And once again, tie this into history and what's happened in the past, especially you Holocaust survivors. Wake up. This fascism's coming to bite you.
Here's the stage from last year's Republican National Convention. Wow. Probably took a good half hour to design that and maybe double that time to build. It's a square plank poking you right in the eye. But now look at last year's DNC stage. It looks like the entrance to Tomorrowland at Disney World. Look at how it's lit. Look at those curving screens leading the eye right up to heaven. It's inviting, it's warm, it's new and exciting. And if you don't think this matters, I'm sorry to tell you, you're wrong. Let's take the tale of two rodents to illustrate this point. Two classically simple pieces of iconography. This line drawing conjures up a completely different set of emotions and expectations than this one does, doesn't it? Look at these two masterpieces of iconography. Look at how simple they are. Can you begin to see how something this simple can conjure up so many images and feelings from your own childhood? The power of an icon is in its ability to evoke a subconscious emotional response. Advertising has a term for this phenomenon. It's called branding. Now, during the campaign season, it's common to try and get an icon to stand for a candidate. George W. Bush used the W in his two presidential runs, the W offsetting him from his father's same-name presidency. It's not bad, but the application of it was strictly limited to lawn signs and bumper stickers. That's amateur hour by today's standards. But now we come to the gold standard. From a pure design standpoint, I've always found this to be a little infantile, but the fact is it's a classic. Plowed fields of grain under the sunrise of a new tomorrow, all in the shape of the O. O for Obama, of course, but also O for the one, the circle, complete and self-contained, sunrise and prosperity within the circle of life, and outside it nothing but barren emptiness. In terms of what it evokes, it's a masterpiece, and the way the Obama team used it and continues to use it is absolutely brilliant. Take a look at this image. It's from the official Obama website. Notice how all of the traditional American iconography, the eagle, the stars, the flag, the motto, E pluribus unum, are all slowly fading out into a diffuse heavenly glow, receding into the mists of memory, leaving only the glowing sun, the O, pulling your eye into the future.